Today I have Kitty O'Brien with me, who is the founder of these lovely Pagan Roots Moon Teas. So welcome, Kitty, good to see you.
Thank you.
So you have loads of skills. You're a tarot reader, you're a healer, you run circles and things. Why teas? Why did you bring us a lovely collection of teas?
Well, I started using teas in my circles. I use them like as a ceremonial practice, and they really complement meditations as well. So I guess it kind of grew from there. I've always used teas personally for moon cycles, any prayers that I have, I always make a cup of tea. And yeah, it just evolved and grew from there, and everyone kept saying, "Oh, I love your teas, where'd you get them from?" And I was like, I need to do something with this, because there's obviously a demand, and people, it's really nice for people to be able to bring something home with them from the circle, and to continue that practice of well-being within their own home.
Yeah, and something I noticed, they smell and taste really nice.
Yeah, they've got that lovely fresh smell. It's mainly down to how I store them, actually.
Okay.
A lot of people store teas like in glass jars, or they store them in a container that's not airtight. So light can really damage tea and take away the flavour, because it fades the tea leaves, and also humidity can affect the flavour of the teas as well. Okay.
And so what makes your teas so special?
Well, I put a lot of effort into kind of setting up a business that ties in with my ethical morals and views and values. I hold the environment very, very close to my heart, and I wanted to choose suppliers who were very conscious of their supply chain, who paid the farmers like a really good wage as well. So I decided not to source anything from China. That was my first big step. I source everything within the UK or Europe, even down to the packaging, down to even like the little tea bags that you can make, and the wooden spoons. Everything is from Europe or England. So that, for me, makes the teas very special, because I'm very conscious about carbon footprint and the environment. And also I put so much care into them, because I use them for my own well-being, and I want to provide a service to people as well, and make sure they're using products that are going to benefit their well-being as well. So I put a lot of care into them.
And I think there's nothing worse, is there, than trying to sell something that you don't necessarily believe in.
Yeah.
The fact that, you know, your love and care has gone into those essences, that you know, and the teas and the smells and the feelings.
Yeah.
That's a really nice thing. So with all the, you know, obviously they're blends of different combinations. What would you say is your favourite, one of your favourite ingredients?
Oh, it's difficult, because there's so many different types of teas, and I have so many favourites within the different types. So you get the black teas, and I love an Earl Grey tea. I love an Earl Grey cup of tea, and the fact that he abolished slave labour in England as well. Is I like the little historical touch to it as well. And then there's the Lady Grey as well. She sort of set up her own line of tea from his. So I do love a black tea. I do love a black cup of tea. I think I get that from my mum. She sort of raised us on PG tips.
I didn't realise there was a story behind it.
Yeah. He got a tea maker to come up with this amazing blend. It's got bergamot in it. It's got it's all these other different flavourings as well. And yeah, he was one of the first prime ministers in England to abolish slave labour, which is really it's really wonderful when you think about it. And then the white teas, I love a white tea, because I love rose petals. I don't know if people know this, but you can eat them, they're edible. And I love the rose petals with the white tea, because the white tea is such a delicate tea, and when I'm feeling quite delicate and fragile, especially with different cycles that my body's going through, I love that very gentle feminine cup of tea to nurture me.
Yeah, sounds lovely.
And then I do love the African tea, the honeybush tea as well. And I love those. This is going to sound silly, but you can use that tea bag about 3 times. So yeah, you can
awesome.
keep reusing the teas, and I like the fact that you can reuse them, but also the fact that they have this wonderful smell, and they're incredibly good for your health. They've got so many health benefits.
Yeah.
And then there's the green teas that I used to hate green tea. And I found out it's because it wasn't being made properly. People use boiling water with green tea, which is a big no-no. So when I learned how to make a good cup of green tea, I use that when if I've got a little bit of IBS going on or anything, because it's a good cleanser and detox.
I love the honey bush. I discovered that when I was in South Africa a few years ago. And I brought some home. And so, because me personally, I don't drink tea or coffee. So which blends would you say would be best for me anyway? Or anybody who doesn't drink normal tea?
But there's a huge range of herbal teas. So the Sleep Easy tea, that's just herbal, so that's just different plants and stuff. That has no caffeine in it or any tea leaves in it. They still call them teas because it's the fact that you boil the herbs in the water. The honeybush teas, so like the well-being teas, they're caffeine free, so they're really good for relaxing. And then I've got the fruit tea as well. So that's literally just I love fruit tea because it's literally just dried fruit, and the colours are the most amazing colours, and I love making them for my little boy, like as a substitute to juice and squash, because it's natural. And then when in the really hot weather, I freeze them, make little lollipops for him. So,
that's a really good idea.
So I use my tea, and the fact that you can keep reusing the tea bags, I'll make him a cold drink with it, because they're really nice cold as well. And then I'll make the
and I think the difference with these is because the flavour is so good. You can use them in those other ways.
Yeah.
Whereas some of the ones that you buy, they just they don't have a lot of sort of, they taste a bit earthy sometimes, but sometimes the flavour is a little bit lacking. So
I call them, well, my mum got me onto the term when I said to her, do you want one of my amazing teas? She said, no, I like the factory dust. And I was like, I've never heard that term before, but literally a lot of the teas you buy in the shops, the tea leaves are so ground up into dust that you do lose a lot of the flavour and the goodness behind them.
Oh, can I just take you back? You said something about the temperature of the water earlier.
Yes, yep.
So tell us about that.
So on each packet, I've got a few examples down here that I've written, or I've not written, I've typed, whether to use fresh boiling water or not. So black teas, you can use fresh boiling. It's actually really good to use fresh water rather than water that's been boiled a couple of times in the kettle, because the oxygen levels in the water also affect the taste of the tea. Yeah, so fresh boiling water for the black teas, and then if it's like one of the fruit teas or the elderberry, rosehip or hibiscus tea, that's also fresh boiling water, and it will say it on there, because they're not affected by the temperature of the water, like their flavour won't be changed. And also the best balanced tea you can use boiling water for as well, because there's nothing in there that's going to be affected by the boiling temperatures of the water. When you start going towards green teas, the flavour is really horrible if you use boiling water on a green tea, because the boiling water really affects the tea leaves, and it will literally it will taste so bitter and vile you won't want to drink it. And that's why I used to hate green tea, because I never knew that you can't use boiling water with green tea. So the Goddess Organic Tea, this is a lovely organic tea. You can only use water at 80 degrees. So that is literally, you boil the kettle and you leave it for 5 minutes, and then that will be temperature to use it at.
I didn't realise tea making was so involved.
Yeah.
So where can anybody get these teas? Where are they available?
I've got an Etsy shop, so you can just purchase them straight from Etsy. Or you can find me on social media. So I'm on Facebook as well. I'm on TikTok, Instagram. You can just message me privately, and you can get them as well.
Obviously, we'll put some details with this video. Now, teas aside, I hear you're writing a book.
I am.
Tell us about that.
So I've been through some really tough experiences in my life, and I've always got through them with a certain mindset, and I've decided to write this book. It's a self-help book, essentially. it's about how to navigate your way through really difficult situations, with using, when I say prayer, it's not like a religious thing. It's that belief in ourselves. Also, when you speak something out loud, you sort of start attracting, like the law of attraction, the law of vibration. So it's got some science behind it as well. So the prayer is more linked to the science side, and also prayer can help us sort of access our subconscious mind. So there's quite a lot going on in the book, but it's literally it's a self-help book on how to change your life in areas of money, relationships, your health, and they're really simple things you can do. You don't have to go out and buy anything. All you need is yourself. And
obviously I know some of your history. I know what you've been through, and huge admiration for you. The fact that you've pulled yourself through. You've got a little boy as well. You're looking after a little boy by yourself. So tell us about that.
Yes, I'm a full-time single mum. My little boy he's just turned 2. He's a very hyperactive little thing. Full of beans.
He's very cute.
Yes,
he's very cute.
Yes. He is absolutely adorable in many, many ways. And I love him to bits, and he is my strength, essentially. I have gotten a lot of my strength from him. And he ignited something inside me when he was born. And I don't know if any other parents can relate to this, but when you have a child, you are literally reborn yourself. And you go through so many rebirths through parenthood. and then just becoming recognizing that I have my own sense of being, and I'm not just mum. So I'm mum, and I'm Kitty, and I'm a businesswoman, and I can, an entrepreneur, and I can do all of that and be a full-time mum.
And I think as women in particular, we go through so many different changes, don't we? Literally every few months, especially when you're in the sort of the work that we do. The changes just don't stop. They just keep going. So is there anything else that you feel just really keeps you focused and really keeps you on track of where you want to go?
Yes, actually, a lot of my clients have been through really difficult situations themselves. I work with a lot of victims of domestic abuse, and seeing them grow just keeps reminding me why I'm doing what I'm doing, and keeps me true to myself. And sometimes it's really challenging for me, trigger wise, but I keep developing. I keep developing on a professional level. I keep developing on a personal level, and just recognizing everybody else's journey and where they're going. It makes me want to help people even more. And seeing how many vulnerable people there are out there, especially when it comes to children. I'd love to work within schools in the future and help tackle issues like bullying and things, and just really helping serve humanity. You truly are an inspiration. Oh, thank you.
So what's next? Obviously the book hopefully will be completed soon.
Yes.
Any other projects you're sort of thinking of?
Yeah, I've already got my second book in mind. So being an author is definitely on the future cards, so to speak.
So you've really got the buzz for it now. You really enjoy doing that.
I do. I would love to do motivational speaking as well. Okay. There's some courses that I want to design that are going to run alongside the book, so people can access the book and the courses.
Great.
Yes, just continue with my tarot cards. The circles, I want to move from my home into a bigger setting, so I can have more people. I'm going to start planning retreats as well. Good. So lovely little.
We look forward to hearing about those. So with all those skills, how would you like to be known? How do you sort of define yourself?
Yeah, this is sort of something that's one of my problems at the moment, actually. Something I'm trying to figure out myself, because I don't fit in a box.
Who wants to be in a box?
Exactly. Come on. We're all beings that live on 3 planes of existence. We have our soul, we have our body, and we have our mind. And it's trying to sort of when you set yourself up on social media, there's like a drop down menu and you got to tick one. I want to tick most of them, and you can't. So it's, I guess I see myself as someone who guides people spiritually. But then I guess if I had to sum myself up, I would probably just come up with the very boring term of entrepreneur, who has that, because that's literally what I am. I'm setting up multiple sources of income, but I'm also serving humanity. So I'm a bit of both.
Yeah.
And I'm a mum.
That's lovely. Oh, Kitty, it's been amazing talking to you. Thank you for spending your time. But I think we need to go and get a cup of tea now.
Yes, definitely.
All details will all be below. We'll add some contacts and things. And yeah, thank you
so much for having me.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
See you soon.